morning, everybody. Oh, I'm a bit lopsided there. Let me fix that. Thank you so much for tuning in to us today. We really enjoy doing these days of live presentations, and we know how overwhelming lunchbox prep can be. And we also know how easy it is to be prepared for the school term. So I have this crazy idea, a bit different for me. So my idea is I've done a free planner up with just some suggestions on what you could make with different options as gluten-free, dairy-free, nut-free, all of that sort of thing. So if you have a look at the planner I've done up and you have one child in school, if you make one, maybe two, but at least one recipe, have a look at the portions. I've written how many portions it makes. You need 45 school snacks to get you through term one. That's not hard. Some of those recipes make 25 portions or 12 portions. So basically, if you're making 1 to 2 things a week or 4 things between now and school term starting, you will have enough snacks for one child. So I'm going to be making, I have 3 children, so I'll be making 3 to 4 recipes a week and popping it in the freezer. So every second day I'll make something. So it makes it really easy. It's the best. It's worth every inch of your freezer. So make some space in your freezer. And then all of these foods that we're making freeze well. All of them I have frozen before. So that's why I popped them on the list, because I know either they keep well, like the fruit roll-ups, or they freeze really well and defrost well. So hopefully we give you some really good inspiration to get going. Now this morning, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. The rest of the team are going to show you Thermomix stuff. I'm still showing you Thermomix stuff, but rather than kneading dough in front of you, it's quite loud. I get asked all the time about techniques on how to make scrolls, how to roll rolls, things like that, brunch bread. So I thought I would just show you. I've done a couple of batches of dough up already today. They're in my thermo servers. They've been proving for the last hour. So we're ready to go. If you have any questions, please comment below, because this is something that is a real pain point for people. And I'd really love you to be able to make these dough-based recipes really easily and confidently. So, and they are easy once you know how. So please, I'll come back later on and I'll respond or give you some more help if you need it. Now, thermo servers, I've taken 2 little pieces out. So I weigh my bread rolls. I'm actually, as much as I sound like it, I'm not a super organised, nutsy kind of person. But I find this gives consistency, and I like consistency within my rolls. So a little bit of flour on your hands so they don't stick. Now, to get a smooth top, pull it like that. And then kind of looks like a taco. See, it's really rough. Ignore my dog. And then you just pull the ends in. So you pull the ends in. So imagine it's like a dumpling. So you just pull, and twist. So you're bringing it all up to a point so it looks like a dumpling. And then see how smooth that is? Because if you have a little ridge, when you bake it, it will be amplified. It will look much bigger than it initially looked like it should be. And you're popping it down in your tray with all of that mess underneath, so it squishes flat. So get all the air out, and then sometimes while I'm doing that, I'll already fold it. So if you eventually get to that point, like a taco, yeah, and then you pull the ends up. So turn it and pinch, turn and pinch, okay? And then it is quite forgiving. They look really scary, but just give them a little bit of a pat around and put them on your tray. Now you want them, see the space there? You want them just that little bit apart, because to get a really beautiful fluffy bread roll, if they rise together, that's when you get that lovely side. You know when you break open bakery rolls or take them apart, you get that almost that sheet of bread and it's all fluffy? That's what you get if you nail this part. So just putting them a little bit apart. Now, I've already proved my dough. So I already proved it for an hour and you can see it's doubled. Then I roll it how I want it to be, and I prove it again. Now, bread rolls do take a lot of time. You don't have to touch them, but you do need to let them sit. So I'll probably leave these on an average day for anywhere between 1 to 2 hours. In winter, I've made rolls, I've gone to take a child to soccer, come back and baked them. So put them somewhere warm in your laundry if you've got a dryer going, or if it's a warm day, like today, you'll probably find it's only about an hour or so, but on a cold day, it can take hours. So do it early, let it go, forget about it for a little while, and come back and bake it. Once you've baked it, when you get it fresh out of the oven, get a little piece of butter and just roll it over the tops of them, and it stops the crust, the top from going rock sort of solid. It gives it a really beautiful consistency. So that's my little tips and tricks for a bread roll. Now, what's next? I'm going to do, that dog won't stop barking, will she? Never mind. So your thermo servers are a great tool for the kitchen. I'm not a super gadgety person, but everything I'm using today, I absolutely love, and I can't sort of live without with my bread making. So when I pop it into the thermo server, I give the thermo server a spray of oil. These are in the mix shop now. I used to have one and used to have to pump it to get the air in it. It wasn't so fun. So anything I do use, I really swear I love them. It's not just for show on this live video. So I'm going to steal a bit more. All right, so we're going to do, let's do brunch bread now. So this is the same recipe. I've just used easy everyday white bread. So have a look at what you're trying to achieve. So we want brunch bread. So that ends up in a roll in a circle. So you kind of want it to be longer, not so, you don't need it so wide, if that makes sense. Another thing, rolling pin, that's in the mix shop. I think bread making is the main thing I do have my gadgets for, and like I said, I just love them. All right, so rolling it out. And it doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to get rolled under. And that's what I think. People get a bit scared with dough. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's actually, once you've got it down pat, it's really quite forgiving. All right. So you can see that's that. All in about roughly rectangular-ish shape. All right. This is where you see I'm really not that particular. So this recipe has bocconcini in it. Now I buy the baby one because it's easier. Otherwise, I find it's a bit big and I cut it in half anyway. So where possible, I buy the baby one. Now this is like a pizza. So you can make it half something else to suit family members. If you want to feed all 4 of you for breakfast or for lunches, you can just literally skip something in one section and pop something else in another. So with this recipe, I love sun-dried tomatoes, but I'm the only one in my family that do. So I'll pop that. I'll pop a few pieces there for me, and then what a shame no one else can eat it. All right, so that's mum's section. And then just some cheddar. I didn't have cheddar, so I've got a little bit of mozzarella that I've sliced up just into sort of slices there. Right, now I have fried eggs and put eggs in here. You can put bacon, you can put whatever you like essentially in here, because it's kind of like a rolled up pizza. So you choose, you can put mushrooms, whatever suits you. So now you just grab one side and literally just roll it. Ignore my children yelling. I have 3 sons. So if they're quiet for a period of time, that's a significant win. All right. So just folding it under on itself a little bit, if that makes sense. Now pinch it. Can you see that? I'm just pinching it together. So it looks quite messy. Don't panic. Because if you don't pinch it, you will end up with all the insides sprawled out all over your tray, and it's not so cool. So really focus on making sure, and that's normally my downfall. I normally get too impatient, but that's okay. It still tastes delicious. Now, joining it. That join needs to be down. So roll it so it's sitting face down because it's less likely to split if the weight's on it like that. Now, I might do it this way. So you can see, oops. So you can see that, and you're literally pinching that too. You just put one end inside the other end and you just pinch it all together. Don't be afraid to reposition it. Twist it back around if the edge is not underneath anymore, and you've got that done. So this is another brilliant one. It freezes well. It's great for school lunches. It's great if you've got people coming over, or if you want family brunch on a Sunday, a little bit fun. It doesn't take long at all to do. Pop that down there. So that's that. Now you can brush it with egg and pop some sesame seeds on top, or water and then some sesame seeds on top if that's something that you want to do, and your family like that, go for gold. So now we've got the scrolls. So I know this live is a little bit longer today, but I just keep being asked on how to do these things. So I thought I'd try and solve that for you today. Where am I going to put that? So your thermo servers are a host reward. You cannot buy the thermo servers in the shop. They're literally a reward for you showing your friends the Thermomix. So if that's something that interests you, please shout out to your consultant. And if you don't have a consultant, shout out and I can match you up with one of the team. All right, so scrolls again. We want a rectangle, okay? So here we go. Now think about it. If you want, so for school lunch boxes, I don't like massive scrolls. I like smaller ones, and I put 2 in their lunchbox. So think about how you want your scrolls. If I want them smaller, but more of them, I go wider. If you're doing them for an adult or for a high school child and you want them bigger, wider, then make your dough this way more than that way. All right? But I want mine to be sort of smaller, but I put 2 in because 1's not enough, but 2 sort of medium sized ones or smaller ones work well for my boys. So again, whatever suits your family. Move that board over there because I'm going to knock it over. All right. And you can notice I'm using the bread mat. It sticks to the bench top, so it doesn't move around and I can work with it properly. All right. Here we go. Now this point is the same as pizza. If you were going to make a pizza, you would roll it out how you want it, or in little tiny discs. If you want to make mini pizzas, or if you want to make one big one and cut it up, you can. But you would do the pizza dough for that one. Right, now, first step. I've got that to a shape I'm happy with. Tomato paste. So you can, I just encourage you to have a look at the pricing of things. So you think about this recipe, the dough, each batch of dough is $1.10. And I can get 12 to 16 scrolls out of it for $1.10. So think about your toppings. If you're on a budget, Vegemite and cheese. If you don't mind buying some bacon or ham or something, then obviously it just increases that per serve, but it's still so cheap. So I think I lathered mine with bacon and cheese once and I costed it up and it was $5, but I made a couple of batches. Can't remember how many I did now, but yeah, they come down quite cheap each. It's very affordable. So yeah, $1.10 per batch of dough if you make it yourself. Now, Italian herbs. I love Italian herbs. Everyone who knows me knows I can add Italian herbs just about anything. But no, in all honesty, it does give really good flavour. All right, toppings, whatever you like. So sometimes I put pineapple pieces for one of my sons on it. But again, I would just do it down one little section because that's just for Lachlan. The others don't like pineapple. So you can make it suit all of them and really quite easily. So today, because we all know, you know, it's hard to get something that all 3 children like if you have a few kids. So popping your bacon on or whatever topping you've got. All right. And then cheese. So I use Tasty or cheddar or whatever. And then I do blend it with some mozzarella. All right. So with your scrolls, I encourage you to come to the edge with your fillings closest to you, but to leave a little bit on the end, not closest to you, furthest from you. Because when you roll it, it really helps. So now I've got a little bit of mozzarella on top, just a little sprinkle. All right, rearrange it if there's something that you think you've done, you've missed a bit or you've got a hole there with nothing in it. Fix all of that up. Now, rolling. This is what everybody finds really hard. So, what you do is you pick up a piece and fold it on itself. Fold it. And just rest your arm there, rest your hand there as you go. And if you fold it on itself, it usually stays for a few seconds, like a good few seconds, so you can keep rolling it. So you feel a bit like an octopus, but just remember there's no time limit on this, so there's nobody's saying you have to do this super fast. So once you've got that first roll, now I think it's really important to have that first roll super tight. So as tight as you can roll that, roll it. And then you feel like more of an octopus. You just keep rolling. There you go. So just like that. Now, another thing, if you feel like you've buggered it up and one end is really, really, really fat and one end is not consistent with the other, whatever, you can kind of just pull it in or push it out, or like, it's really forgiving. And it's so funny because people are so scared of scrolls, but they're actually really forgiving. Now, I'm just pressing, I'm not really pinching, I'm just pressing that down. Now, can't cut on your bread mat. Don't cut your bread mat, because once you cut, you can't use it anymore because it's got fiberglass inside of it to help it with proving your doughs and keeping it extra insulated. So what I do here, these are the new silicone trays from the mix shop too, by the way, and I love them. They fit in my 900 oven. You know how sometimes in your oven it's a waste of space because you can't fit them in that way? These fit, just FYI, straight in, so it's good. All right, so with a serrated knife of some sort, you're just chopping. Now that first end one always looks a bit funny, so I just sort of squish it to make it stand properly. Don't get caught up on that. About 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch. Just keep slicing. Now this is, as you pick them up and you put them on the tray, that's not how they are. As in, if that's squished to death, you can reshape it, right? So I've probably made them a little bit smaller than normal today, but that's okay. And pop it on, and I just push it flat a little bit. So with these ends, a top tip here is these ends, make them face another scroll. Don't make them face out because they'll unravel when they bake. So always have the end facing, the tail facing another scroll, not outwards. All right, again, I leave just a little gap like I did the rolls because I actually let these prove again now for probably another half an hour. And then I bake them and you get that fluffiness again. Because some scroll recipes I've made in the past, they're actually quite dry, and I don't like that. I like them to be quite fluffy. So if you wanted them not so fluffy, put them apart, not touching. The moment you make it touching, you're going to have that fluffiness. The other tip with bread is don't change your flours. Don't use plain flour and wonder why it hasn't worked when it asks for baker's flour. There's a reason for it because there's all different proteins and different quantities of proteins and glutens and all of that in the flours. So please, please, please don't mess with it. And some recipes will ask for bread improver. I use that with mine as well. Some people swapped it out for a vitamin C tablet crushed up in there. Apparently it does work as well. I haven't tried that myself though. So let's keep going with this. So baker's flour I buy from Costco. It's $10 for it's $10 for 12 kilos. So it's really, so my dough comes down to 90 cents or something per batch. So when I do my costings up, I base it on supermarket prices, so it's a little bit more realistic. a little bit more fair. So a bread improver, if you're looking for it at the shops, that's what it looks like. I get asked that all the time as well. And your yeast. Keep your yeast somewhere cool because otherwise it can stop working and you don't want that. In the recipe for the scrolls, I just use the easy everyday white bread recipe. But instead of caster sugar, I put a little bit of brown sugar and half a teaspoon. So no caster sugar and brown sugar instead, because I feel like it takes that, it was a tip from my husband from his chefing days, just takes that doughiness out of it. All right, so here are my scrolls all ready to keep proving. So I'll leave those go. I will pop back later and post a picture of all of this once it's finished baking. But please ask any questions and I'll try and get back to you as quick as I can. Just bear in mind, I took a while to learn all of this and I'm just trying to pass it on to you. So it's a lot of information, but it's been a fun journey learning it all. So hopefully you've got some inspiration. All of this freezes well. So please have a go and let us know how you go with it. Take care. Oh, Amela's next at 10. I've probably talked for too long. And she's got fruit, apricot balls, but they're delicious. My kids love them. See ya.